I have some questions about the bathroom facilities. I have had an opportunity to be in some elementary, middle, and high school bathrooms, and there are twofold. One is cleanliness. I was in the women's bathroom next to the auditorium at Central High School. The floors were filthy. I got down on my hands and knees, dirt, and it was obvious that it had not been cleaned even last summer because it should shine. And in addition to that, the doors need to be painted. There are a lot of other things that need to be done. And how can we expect our students to respect the facilities when they look like that? And that's an example of a high school. I was in an elementary school, and the stairs up and down, first thing in the morning, hadn't been touched. And I have some real concerns about waiting. And I was in the bathroom, another bathroom at Memorial that I mentioned before. They put a new toilet paper dispenser on this side and left the hardware on the other side. And the doors were filthy and need to be painted. We shouldn't be waiting. Some of these things can be done right away. We're paying Aramark good money to have cleanliness in all of our bathrooms. And I think that's a real concern. And if we want MTSS behavior to work, we need to do our part in making sure that the facilities that we have for our students are respectable so they will respect them. I mean, I find it very difficult, and I'm trying to be very respectful, but we're waiting a long time and expecting the principals to spend a lot of time. One of the principals has 122 bathrooms. Do you know how long it takes to look at 122 bathrooms? So we need to think about those things as we move forward. We're all in this together. We can help. And we shouldn't be waiting. We can get our auditorium, West Auditorium's being repaired. We've got the audio system at Central done, but then you walk outside and and we've been working on this, it's been months. And I'm not seeing any changes. And I think some of the things can be worked on now. So that's
When's the next time someone from facilities comes to our meeting?
Let's see. It will be June to end the school year. As our next quarterly report.
Or maybe we could have them come in at the next meeting. Anyone, Turner?
Thank you, Chairman Baines. Two questions. One, short of an audit, which I know has just happened, and you've gotten reports as such, short of like sounding the alarm bells and having this audit, how can we be certain, what plans can we put in place that this now becomes routine instead of it being an audit by everybody? Like, how does this become part of the fabric of just what we do in the district? That's my first question.
I think it's a lot about, or it's at least some about, the expectation and the culture and the fact that if we report something, it should be addressed. And I think someone mentioned last month that sometimes complacency can set in because you're used to seeing something. And so it certainly will be. I've addressed this with Aramark since our meeting last month, and I've actually, as I tasked the principals, we have to have staff that A, observes, B, reports, and then once that happens, we have to have the follow through to make sure that things are done. And that's the culture that's the loop in the culture that we need to build, and that's everybody. That's from an Aramark custodian who sees a ceiling tile out that should be reporting that because it's Aramark's responsibility to replace most of those if there's a problem, to our students having the ability to report something, to our staff having the ability to report something, and making sure that system's easy. Once the reports come in, the system's easy to develop to address the reports. But I think it's that making the report, that initial report, may be our largest challenge because of some of the expectation of the way things have been for,
But it
anymore.
shouldn't take a school board member to report a dirty floor in
It
a
should not.
bathroom
And
and
I've
an
actually-
auditorium that a lot of the public comes in and uses. I don't think there's any excuse for that, but.
Yeah, and I mean, I feel like
So-
similar thread is, if we have a concert at Central, and I know I've talked about this, but the hand dryer in the ladies' room is the only way to dry your hands. There's no paper towel dispenser, and there's only one hand dryer. It has not worked for over 2 years, and I've brought it up, and that it's not just a hand dryer. That's one example, but extrapolate that to all of our schools. There are things that, I guess you said it, Forrest, is there's like a set of low expectations or complacency where, well, of course the hand dryer is broken and of course no one will fix that. So I guess I'm looking for like a paradigm shift in our, in our way of behaving. And, I think you said it, Forrest, like maybe students can report. So,
Yep.
but how do they? So, I mean, I have students at Central. Who would they tell? What would they report? Do they fill out a form? Are they sending an email? And do they even know that they have the power to use their voice to do that? And my guess is today they do not know that, and they would not know where to start. So, I mean, I appreciate, that like the curtain's been pulled back and now I'd like to move forward with a plan, but I guess I look to leadership to help craft what that plan looks like, because I don't want to have, next year sounding alarm bells and we're back at like, oh, quick, everybody audit. So I don't know the path forward for that, but I believe it starts, with conversations.
I would
your level.
certainly be happy over the next 2.5 months to chart that path forward, because I think that it is not a large hill to climb to get and develop the ability for anyone to report something other than just saying something to somebody. Because what we do know is that if 15 people tell me 15 things over the course of 5 hours, and if I'm only being told, I'm probably not going to remember all of those. I need a system for someone giving me something that gets on record.
Yeah,
So I'd be
of
happy to
course.
move forward with that as we go forward.
Yeah, I would appreciate that. And then my second question and/or comment, it relates to committee member Soul. In terms of, I understand what you're saying, renovations will be happening, and therefore we do not need to spend money unnecessarily if something's going to be renovated. With that said, I think, my opinion, there's a difference between renovating and making sure that the bathrooms are clean and usable until the renovations are done. For example, I have a 6th grader at Hillside. She will not really reap the benefits of this renovation until, she'll be being promoted out of 8th grade before the ribbon is cut on Hillside. So if there's a broken hand dryer, a broken bathroom lock, a non-working, light fixture in the bathroom, what are we doing as a district to make sure that those are being addressed? So if we've put a stop sign up to say we don't want work order reports or requests from those schools, I think there's a big difference between a work order request for, a non-operational bathroom versus a full renovation of a bathroom. So can you help me understand the difference between those, or how we would move forward with that?
Actually, round 2 for me on this would be going back to those 5 and doing a less strenuous inspection, if you will, because this first one was asking them to really look deep on those. They can look at the cleaning, they can look at the more surface things that can be done. So we'll take care of that.
Yeah, because I do think that there are things broken in our 4 middle schools and Beach Street that if they're going to be renovated, we don't need to, maybe replace a tile or, replace all the floors. But if there's a hand dryer not working, I feel like that's something we can address, within a couple months, not.
In consultation with facilities, the general number we're keeping in mind is that to renovate a pair of bathrooms, because typically we're going to do the men's room and the ladies' room in the same work order, is about the complete renovation is about $100,000 a pair. So when we have done the restrooms at Gosler Park, we've started working our way through the gang restrooms, the common restrooms, in what we think is an organized manner, not knowing that, if we now look at the fact that there are probably 500 restrooms in the school district, or more than that. the idea that if we go through and renovate 500 restrooms over time, then we're, you know, we're talking $100,000 a pair. So there's a great
Yeah.
deal of financial investment there, and there may be some CIP work that can go forward more in a more targeted fashion as we move forward.
Yeah, I think you understand the difference of what I'm getting at in terms
do
of
understand what you're saying.
renovating and just
Yes, I
making
do.
sure they're usable. Thank
The
you.
only thing I would add to that, building leadership has to take a very important role in this, in working with Aramac and facilities. So.
Aramark
they really have
facilities-
to. I mean, the
Ara-
fact that that restroom in the auditorium, a public place, there hasn't been somebody in building administration at Central, no disrespect intended, but to address that issue is inexcusable to me. Go ahead.
I have two more additional comments. First, I would highly recommend that you talk to Stacy Champy for MTSSB and Empower, because the students should know who they ask and go to if there are issues in the bathrooms. And we need to empower our students, and I think that's an important piece. Secondly, one of the things, and this is all, we're very concerned, but I want to think about an asset. And I want to tell you that I went to spring into summer at Beach Street School. We had 650 people come through the door. I went in the bathroom right across from the office first thing in the morning. That bathroom was spotless. It had been renovated since I saw it a year ago. I went back at the end of the day. It was still spotless. People had put everything in the trash. It was still clean because they respected it. And I just think that that's a positive that we need to think about. It can be done, and it doesn't cost a lot of money, so thank you.
I think we've beaten the horse now.
Yep.
We all set on that?